Hey humans, and welcome to Read to Me, Matt Dunn. I'm Matt Dunn, and I'm going to read to you. We are reading Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Written a long time ago, 18 something or other. Well, we are on chapter 11, part 1. I lay on my straw, but I could not sleep. I thought of the occurrences of the day. What chiefly struck me was the gentle manners of these people, as I longed to join them, but dared not. I remember too well the treatment I had suffered the night before from the barbarous O-U-S. Would it be a shish? Barbarish villagers. I like that one. That sounds like nice better. That sounds a lot nice better. So, these barbarish villagers, and resolved whatever course of conduct I might hereafter think it right to pursue. That, for the present, I would remain quietly in my hovel, watching and endeavoring to discover the motives which influenced their actions. The cottagers arose the next morning before the sun. The young woman arranged the cottage and prepared the food, and the youth departed after the first meal, probably for school. This day was passed in the same routine as that which preceded it. The young man was constantly employed out of doors, and the girl in various laborious occupations within. The old man, whom I soon perceived to be blind, employed his leisure hours on his instrument, or in contemplation. He just sat and think, being blind and all. Nothing could exceed the love and respect which the younger cottagers exhibited toward their venerable companion. They performed towards him every little office of affection and duty with gentleness, and he rewarded them by his benevolent smile. They were not entirely happy. The young man and his companion often went apart and appeared to weep. I saw no cause for their unhappiness, but I was deeply affected by it. If such lovely creatures were miserable, it was less strange that I, an imperfect and solitary being, should be wretched. Yet why were these gentle beings unhappy? They possessed a delightful house, for such it was in my eyes, and every luxury. They had a fire to warm them when chill, and delicious viands when hungry. Golly. They were dressed in excellent clothes, and still more. They enjoyed one another's company and speech, interchanging each day looks of affection and kindness. What did their tears imply? Did they really express pain? I was at first unable to solve these questions, but perpetual attention and time explained to me many appearances which were at first enigmatic. Very nice. I love it. I'm enjoying myself. A considerable period elapsed before I discovered one of the causes of the uneasiness of this amiable family. It was poverty, and they suffered that evil in a very distressing degree. Their nourishment consisted entirely of the vegetables of their garden and the milk of one cow that gave very little during the winter, when its masters could scarcely procure food to support it. They often, I believe, suffered the pangs of hunger very poignantly, especially the two younger cottagers. For several times they placed food before the old man when they received none for themselves. This trait of kindness moved me sensibly. I had been accustomed during the night to steal a part of their store for my own consumption. But when I found that in doing this I inflicted pain on the cottagers, I abstained and satisfied myself with berries, nuts, and roots, which I gathered from a neighboring wood. I discovered also another means through which I was enabled to assist their labors. I found that the youth spent a great part of each day in collecting wood for the family fire, and during the night I often took his tools, the use of which I quickly discovered, and brought home firing sufficient for the consumption of several days. I remember that the first time I did this, the young woman, when she opened the door in the morning, appeared greatly astonished on seeing a great pile of wood on the outside. She uttered some words in a loud voice, and the youth joined her, who also expressed surprise. I observed with pleasure. He's probably like, "You like my wood? Yes." I don't know. He's got a makeshift face. Maybe he's got one face. It's tied to another face. Ugh, like rotten. How is he not decaying? I observed with pleasure that he did not go to the forest that day, but spent it in repairing the cottage and cultivating the garden. By degrees, I made a discovery of still greater moment. I found that these people possessed a method of communicating their experiences and feelings to one another by articulate sounds. I perceived that the words they spoke produced either pleasure or pain, smiles or sadness, in the minds and countenance of their hearers. This was indeed a godlike science, and I ardently desired to become acquainted with it. But I was baffled at every attempt I made for this purpose. Their pronunciation was quick, and the words they uttered not having any apparent connection with visible objects. I was unable to discover any clue by which I could unravel the mystery of their reference. By great application, however, and after having remained during the space of several revolutions of the moon in my hovel, several revolutions of the moon, several months. I'm thinking like, for some reason, my brain farted. I was thinking like 1 month is like crescent moon, and the next month is like not so crescent, waning. I don't know. Well then, I discovered the names that they were given to some of the most familiar objects of discourse. I learned and applied the words fire, milk, bread, and wood. I learned also the names of the cottagers themselves. The youth and his companion had each of them several names, but the old man had only one, which was Father. Such a weird name. The girl was called Sister, or Agatha. And the youth, Felix, brother or son. I mean, they pick whatever. I cannot describe the delight I felt when I learned the ideas appropriate to each of these sounds and was able to pronounce them. I distinguished several other words without being able as yet to understand or apply them, such as good, dearest, unhappy. I spent the winter in this manner. The gentle manners and beauty of the cottagers greatly endeared them to me. When they were unhappy, I felt depressed. When they rejoiced, I sympathized in their joys. I saw few human beings beside them, and if any other happened to enter the cottage, their harsh manners and rude gait only enhanced to me the superior accomplishments of my friends. The old man, I could perceive, often endeavored to encourage his children, as sometimes I found that he called them to cast off their melancholy. He would talk in a cheerful accent, with an expression of goodness that bestowed pleasure even upon me. Agatha listened with respect, her eyes sometimes filled with tears, which she endeavored to wipe away unperceived. But I generally found that her countenance and tone were more cheerful after having listened to the exhortation of her father. It was not thus with Felix. He was always the saddest of the group, and even to my unpracticed senses, he appeared to have suffered more deeply than his friends. But if his countenance were more sorrowful, his voice was more cheerful than that of his sister, especially when he addressed the old man. Wow. So he's all like learning about things. So much learning. Well, if you wish for me to keep reading, please check out some more of my videos. You can subscribe or comment down below, and I promise we will be friends. I'll see you during the next video. Thank you.